Nothing feels as good as being healthy, you know? I would never purposely go back to eating foods that I know don't make me feel good, that make me feel sick.
Hey guys, thank you so much for supporting us and watching our videos. If you'd like to support us some more and get some of our merchandise like this awesome apron, be sure to check out our website at thecarnivorerevolution.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Carnivore Revolution. I'm Serena, and today my guest is fellow carnivore Alison Johnson. And Alison and I met online, and I am super excited to get her story and help her share it with you guys. Alison, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm really excited about this conversation because I feel like you have a lot to say. You have recently started a YouTube channel, and that's been going really well for you. And so I would like to just start with your story. Like, what made you become a carnivore? How did you get to where you are today?
Okay, so I was trying to lose weight in the end of 2022, and I was 45 years old. I had had excess weight, probably 30, 35 pounds for 10 years. When I turned 40, that old saying, everything caught up with me.
Mhm.
So I started with learning about intermittent fasting at the end of 2022. So I had a meal plan that I had found online and I was meal prepping. And by this time it was January of 2023. And I ate something and I had almost like an allergic reaction, an autoimmune flare up, because I have a history of, several autoimmune issues that have been resolved on their own with surgical treatment, pretty major treatments. But I had this reaction and it left me so frustrated. Here I am trying to be healthy. I was eating a lot of salad and kale and spinach and all the healthy things, a lot of seeds, chia seeds and almond milk and just all of that. So I went to the internet, I went to YouTube and I was, looking for a detox, something to detox me for 2 weeks. And I ended up finding the elimination diet, the carnivore diet, because I saw Michaela Peterson's story. And something about her experience really resonated with me because I had developed some pretty obscure and ended up being severe autoimmune illness when I was very young, in my 20s, not like a child but in my 20s. So I thought, well, I'm going to do this for 2 weeks. I'm a really extreme person. I'm all or nothing. So I thought I'll just do this for 2 weeks. I can do it. And now it's been a year. I just started noticing a lot of the benefits and the mental health benefits. My autoimmune flare, went down really quickly. And I just found this way of eating that worked so well for me. I started losing weight. I started by losing a lot of inflammation quickly. And then at month 2, I realized my brain fog or depression and my anxiety had vastly improved. And I have dealt with really high anxiety for 20 years. So I couldn't believe it. I realized that my anxiety had gotten so much better because it had started to affect my day-to-day life. I was having trouble riding in the car. That was the one of the worst things. And then the nighttime anxiety where intrusive thoughts would come, I couldn't sleep very well. So all of that improved and I felt good and I was losing weight and I had more energy. My skin issues went away. I didn't have trouble with eczema or that kind of thing, but I'd have sensory type issues, sensation issues. I do have rosacea and it cleared up a lot. And it was just incredible. I couldn't believe it. And so I started, telling people, hey, you got to try this. There is something to it. And I did a lot of research. That's the type of person I am. I watched hundreds and hundreds of videos from, medical doctors, authors, journalists like Nina's book, and how we got to where we are with, all of the information we've been fed for 50 years, 70 years, actually. So it's been incredible. I have to date lost about 30 pounds in a year, but at my highest, it's probably 50 pounds. I got to the point where I got so unhealthy that I stopped weighing myself. I was very discouraged. I was very, I had low self-esteem. I didn't want to go places, that kind of thing. So to date, I have lost 30 pounds and I feel like myself again. And I hadn't realized that I had, really become so numb and just going through the motions, but for 18 years probably. And so that's been incredible.
That's wonderful. I love to hear people's stories about healing, and I have found that it even changes people's personalities. It's just a really
Mhm.
interesting thing. Okay, so you mentioned being an all or nothing person, and I just wonder, are you an abstainer or a moderator? Because I'm the same way. I am all or nothing. I am either all in or I am all out. Either the house is really, really clean or nothing is clean. Either all of the laundry is done or none of the laundry is done. Either I'm
Yes.
100% on plan or I'm 100% off plan. Do you find that too? Are you an abstainer?
I am an abstainer. I have always been very, intensely into something, just like you said. And then sometimes a switch can click and I'll be completely uninterested in, hobbies and different things like that. So
Yeah.
I do know that about myself. That was one of the things that was so freeing for me. This is what you eat, these few things, not hundreds of different options, but just a few different options. And I found freedom in that because I could just easily, put the rest of it out of my mind.
Mm.
And so that has worked really well for me. So
Yeah.
I
And
am
so
an
many
abstainer.
Yeah, and so many people say, "Oh, how could you eat like that? It's so restrictive." But the truth is most people eat the same 10 or 15 or 20 things in a week anyway. And so
Mhm.
when you look at it like that, like, yeah, they have more if you're eating like the SAD diet, you have more options, but you don't really eat those options. You pretty much eat
Right.
the same thing on a weekly basis just like we do. It's just that our foods are nourishing our bodies and keeping
Yeah.
us from binging, on carbs and
Yes.
things like that. So
Yeah.
did you have a difficult transition in the beginning? Was that hard for you?
It was not that hard. I did have transition symptoms, but at the time it was the beginning of February and we were all stuck at home. So, because we had had some inclement weather and we were out of school and out of work for like a week, a full week. And so I was able to just get through it like that. And it wasn't extreme. I think it was about 3 to 4 days of like fatigue, lethargy, I was I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. Extreme, not extreme fatigue, but I did feel body aches and that kind of thing. But I don't even remember it didn't even stick with me that long, the idea of, oh no, this was awful. So I did have some transitions, symptoms, but nothing that was, that I couldn't manage. And I think, like I said, 3 to 4 days of transition.
And what about
So
your family? Are they carnivores too, or do they eat like you?
Kind of. They're much more so my husband, interestingly, is a moderator. And so he started just easing into it a little bit more. He's more of a ketovore. He does still he he's very meat heavy, meat focused, and so are my kids, my teenagers. But this was, that was a little bit more difficult with teenagers and, teaching them that is not really nutritious food, when you want snacks and you want to eat all the time. There's no snacking. Snacks are a joke.
Yeah.
So eat this, and teaching them those elements so that they can take that with them as they, get older. And if they, have problems, then they know, okay, the first thing I need to look at is my diet. Is the what I'm eating causing some of these issues, which, nobody ever taught us because it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So, my kids are very meat heavy and meat centric as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what about like when you first started, did you have backlash from friends and family? Like, did you have people giving you a hard time about it?
I didn't have anybody giving me a hard time about it, but I also was like, I'm just doing this temporarily, I've and nobody was really surprised that I was doing something extreme. They thought, oh, another crazy harebrained
Yeah.
idea she's come up with, And I kept saying, this is just a small moment in time, just
Yeah.
2 weeks. So I did get a lot of pushback. It was probably once I'd been doing it for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and people were like, "Is this just how you live now?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is just my lifestyle now." Why would I go back to eating things that make me feel bad?
Right.
So um I didn't get a lot of pushback. There has been a little bit of, comments. It's usually just comments like, "Oh, I could never do that. That's so difficult. I could never give this up or give that up." And I use the line that nothing feels as good as being healthy, and because it's true, I would never, purposely go back to eating foods that I know don't make me feel good, that make me feel sick. So, and now, some of my extended family have started it, have tried it, and are getting good results. And, we have a few friends that are trying it, and it's been fantastic.
That's awesome. So what does a typical day of eating look like for you?
I usually like to eat within 30 minutes of waking up before I have coffee. I try to eat, I can eat a lot now. I couldn't eat a lot for a while. I eat 5 to 6 eggs in the morning. I eat 3 times a day usually. And then at lunch, it's usually ground beef and eggs. I can eat ground beef now. I couldn't eat just loose ground beef for a while because it just was like, I can't eat that. And then we have, taco bowls or, like I said, mine's just ground beef because I don't tolerate spices very well. So, and then at night, in the evening, not at night, but in the evening, we'll have steaks occasionally. We don't eat steak every day. I do eat some bacon. And so hamburger patties, chicken wings, chicken thighs, that's usually what I eat. And I eat the same thing on repeat because it doesn't bother me. It's kind of just like fulfilling a task at this point. And I enjoy what I eat, but I don't attach my emotions are not attached to my eating anymore. So that's helpful.
So if you had one piece of advice for people who are going through what you were going through or having autoimmune diseases or thinking about starting something extreme like this, what would your advice be?
Don't focus on, oh, like how I'm going to do this, for a year. Make a small attainable goal. I would say 30 days. And if you can plan and prep a little bit and say, okay, these are some of the ideas, some of the meals that I can have. So you're prepared. And then eat. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Take it day to day, meal to meal. Don't focus on, oh, well, in 2 weeks, is a birthday party or whatever. Just take it, meal to meal in small steps. And don't have to be perfect. Just keep moving forward by making the choices that are make you feel the best.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great advice. So tell people how they can find you. Where can people go to see your YouTube channel and find you on Instagram?
Okay, so my YouTube channel is Alison Johnson 6710. Couldn't get a good handle.
Okay.
So and Alan yeah, and Allison is Alison
Okay.
Johnson. So just one L. And then on Instagram, you can find me at carnivore.ali, ALI. So that's where you can find me on all the socials. Those are the only ones I'm on.
Awesome. Allison, this was really great. And I think it's really good for people to see your story and where you came from and see, like, if people can go back and they can look at your stuff and see your before and afters, I think it's really encouraging because once the inflammation starts to go down, I think it makes a
Yeah.
huge difference for people. And then on top of that is the weight loss and the way you feel and the way you act. And, you can see your confidence now. And I just think that's amazing. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time here on the Carnivore Revolution.